All right, so let's do this. I'm going to draw a quick sketch of what I'm looking at with that function f. So right now, when I see f, there's a negative sign in front. Yep. So it's a reflection. So I know it's a parabola. Mostly parabolas in class, I feel like. So that's going to be a reflection. This is going to be horizontal and opposite. So it's +4, so actually that's going to be left 4. And then this means it's going to be down 5. So I'm wondering if you sketched it well. Left 4, down 5. This will be the vertex. Left 4 units and down 5. And then I'm going to draw a U shape. I could move it this way, but since it's a reflection, this is f of x. That looks too wide, but I'm just doing a rough sketch on that. I'm not doing a perfect drawing. Just getting a visual. So my goal is to take this and move it right 8. Now it doesn't say right, but it's a positive 8. So I want to go 8 units right, and I want to go up 3. Okay, so this is what I'm hoping to achieve. And I'm going to go to Desmos in a minute, and I'm going to check what I do to this equation. If it works. Okay. So I have to change H, and I have to change K. I need to change this H. It's the 4, that's the H. No, I want to go right, so I'm thinking I plus 8, but it's actually opposite. I'm going to subtract 8. And then there's a -5. I want to go up, so I add 3. So I'm changing H by 8, and it's opposite. And I'm changing K by 3, and it's the same. And I'm supposed to call it G. Stays. Leave it there, ignore it. If I drop it, it'll all of a sudden flip up. So leave it there. Good question. Who else has a question? All right, I'm not sure I'm totally buying into this. So I'm going to check out Desmos. Is what she's saying true? All right, here's our parent function. So high. You can see the equations here. The red one is x squared, boom. The number 2, green, is the problem. So that's the first one I drew. So you can see it's typed negative. You got the +4, the -5, left 4, down 5. And then I entered that in last period. Is it the same that we got? It's a -4 here, -2. There it is. It's moved right 8, up 3. Okay. So it probably hasn't really made sense to you what I mean when I say check Desmos. Well, this is what I mean. If you plug in -8 and you're not sure it moved in the right direction, you can type this into Desmos and see did it go the right way. Okay. Put your -2 and see did it go the right way. Does it actually look right and up like it's supposed to? That's Other programs like the IB program uses graphing calculators. And so they would be putting this in their calculator and looking at it. Now the Cambridge, the ACE math exam doesn't allow graphing calculators. So our school doesn't use them on a daily basis, but that's okay. We have access to Desmos. A lot of collegiate math courses don't allow graphing calculators either. So you guys are missing out. But you should know that it's a good idea to justify your work with software and to know how to use software well and to know how to type equations and just to have that motivation to check into things like this. Okay. So just because we're not using a graphing calculator doesn't mean we shouldn't get a visual. And there's a free website, so that's it for ball work. Does anybody have a good question? Okay. Were you thinking about distributing that or anything?
Not yet. Multiply
We can't distribute it in until you FOIL this out. So I'd have to do x minus 4 times x minus 4. And then I would have to distribute it in. And then what that would look like is putting a quadratic equation into standard form, which is less useful. It would look like and we're going to do this like a lot probably. This is the same quadratic written in standard form. So does this look more familiar to you written this way than it does written this way? More or less. This is called vertex form and it shows transformation. This is called standard form and we typically factor that or we use the quadratic formula on that. Mm-hmm. Okay. One thing that I think is confusing right now for you guys is it moving right or is it moving left? But you're probably doing your up and down right. Are you getting your shape right? Okay. One thing that's going to help is like when I point it out, and we're gonna practice graphing more today, but when I pointed out this left 4 and minus 5, and practicing like this, like the homework yesterday, and this problem didn't say to make a graph, but I'm going out of my way to sketch it anyway to help myself understand it. So as you're practicing, just start sketching out a graph, and then again, translated horizontally, you have to stop and think, well, what does that look like? You know, make a visual, and then just actually counting the units over and up. But that's also why I'm saying try Desmos because it's not easy just to jump into creating these graphs. So let's just practice it more. Let's look at yesterday's assignment. Okay, 1 through 13. Yeah, that's definitely it. Yeah. There it is. There it is. Page 29. I'm going to talk quite a bit about the word problem because I know there's one like that on your quiz. Flip.
I don't think my equation is right. So y equals 3 parentheses 4 I don't think that's what it is. I put y equals 3 times 4,000x. But I have 3 weeks, so.
Y equals 4x plus 3.
What happened to your plus 2? What happened to that?
I added it. I canceled out the 2.
Yeah, you did a minus 2 canceled out. You ended up here. Good job. Number 4. What did you get for K, Dominic?
Make it 4.
Yeah.
I got y equals 2 parentheses x minus 3.
Yeah. Good. 5. The original's the black typically. The new one is blue. You see what's different. I counted 1, 2, 3. I observed that it went right 3. So to go right 3, what's this one? You do a minus 3, which is, gosh, if you put plus 3 in your work, good job. Like you knew to change H. But it's minus 3. 1 minus 3 is a negative 2. Yes. Yes. Good. Put the 4 at the end. And it would be plus 4 at the end. And that's more standard. Again, they're flipping things around to see if they can mess you up. This one is only up 1. It looks skinnier somehow, but it's just up 1. So I just add 1 to the end. And now I have a 6. There's 2 ways for linear. There's 2 ways to see a move. Some people will look at this and they say the blue line is right 3. Some people look at this and they say the blue line is up 3. It can be described either way. Who looks at it and says that's right 3? Who looks at it and says it's up 3? Yeah. Okay. So it's all about where, which axis you're kind of mentally focused on in that moment. So the point is that without an equation or not without understanding what happened in that equation, there's 2 ways to see it: a horizontal translation or a vertical translation. All right, I have to talk about this word problem quite a bit because I'm going to test you on a similar one. So I think it's on, and I do put some tricky word problems. I think it's only fair to give you a chance to talk about it. All my answers are still here though. This says that a person has a photography business earning $4,000 a week. Do photographers make that much? Yeah, I don't know. If you're making that much taking pictures, who are you selling your pictures to? It's probably corporate. Maybe you're taking pictures for a national brand. You know, maybe you're like out Walmart taking, but you're taking those Publix pictures that come in the flyers. Or maybe this is like fine art and you sold one picture, you know, for like $200,000 and that works out to be like 4,000 a week. I don't know, but this is not someone sitting here in Palmetto posting pictures for 4,000 a week, okay? What does it look like to make $4,000 a week? I have weeks graphed on the x-axis. Again, this does not tell you to graph, but when it comes to transformations, a visual is really helpful. This is weeks and this is your income. At week 0, you've made no money. After 1 week, how much money have you made? $4,000. After 2 weeks, $8,000. After 3 weeks, you've made $12,000. Before you start, you have a $12,000 expense. What costs you $12,000 in a photography business? Is a camera $12,000? You know what I thought of is maybe this person has like 11 wedding photographers and you gave them each a $1,000 camera and they're like taking pictures all over Florida and then they're making, you know, $4,000 after they pay their photographers. Like that's possible. I don't know. Maybe it's a really good computer to edit, you know, a $12,000 computer. I don't know. Either way, when I look at my picture, a $12,000 expense before I even start at week 0 is way down here. So after my first week of $4,000, I'm still in the hole $8,000. And then another week I'm in the hole $4,000, and by week 3, I'm breaking even. In week 4, I am now making a profit. How do we describe this? I've been talking about it. Somebody right now in the room, somebody else talk about it. How do we describe pink or green? The move from pink to green. So try. You can say anything about the problem, honestly. Go ahead. So we could write a new equation. Right now it's 4,000x, and now we are shifted down 12,000. Vertical translation of negative 12,000 of physical paper? No. Is it? Yeah, sorry, that's right. Okay. Who could tell me? So that means I'm starting week 1 $12,000 in debt, which is how most people start their business. They're owing, they have a loan. Maybe you got a loan for $12,000. Who can talk about this horizontally in terms of my business? Say something about the horizontal shift. I've already talked about it a bit. Something about in terms of time. Go ahead. It's a horizontal translation of 3 weeks. Okay, good. So we can see 2 important things. Our income has dropped $12,000, and the amount of time it takes to break even has moved 3 weeks. It's going to take me 3 weeks to be the same place I was if I start out borrowing $12,000 or spending $12,000. All right, very good. I want to be able to give you a quiz on something like that because you're comfortable with straight lines. You know slope. It's not a crazy business model. Hopefully we can do that. Number 9. Did we do that? Yeah. Okay, reflections. I think I made last period like rewrite this note. It's up to you if you want to rewrite this note, but after I go through these problems, I'm going to assume you know this. This is it for you to know it. To reflect across the x-axis, you multiply the entire equation, like distribution. Like when I'm trying to learn and remember things, I have to usually write it out like 3 times. It's not just the once. I usually have to write myself, you know, a couple times and then I know it and then it's in there. So reflect across the y-axis, you multiply only x by negative 1. Make that. So I want you guys to start believing in these moves and committing them to memory. So number 9 says x-axis, the negative is on the outside, distribute it in. That's your result. Number 10, x-axis, you put a negative on the outside, distribute it in. That's your result. 11 says reflect across the y-axis. You only change what's in front of the x. This is the only time you can go into absolute value bars. Well, that's not true either. So I'm going to put a negative sign here and it's done. Your book does some extra steps here that are not necessary. You can check this in Desmos. This is a perfect reflection sideways. So y-axis means you're reflecting your graph this way. All you have to do is change the x negative. So to change the y-axis, I went from a positive 2 to a negative 2. That's it. To reflect y-axis, I went from a positive x to a negative x. Yeah. Not for 11, 12, or 13. Okay. Outside the bars is going to do this. So if you think about the x-axis, it's a positive 2x. If we're going to move it this way, we have to change it to a negative 2 inside there. But it is kind of weird how they switch to absolute value at the same time they switch the axis and just that pattern too. That's it, guys. Right now you're doing the same exact page. You're doing 15 to 20 right now. 15 to 20. To do 15 to 20, you're using these bottom 2 bullet points. These are the last 2 bullet points from yesterday. If it says vertical stretch, you multiply the whole thing. If it says horizontal stretch or shrink, you multiply only the number in front of x. Coefficient is the number in front of x. So, and you're doing the reciprocal. What's the reciprocal of 1/2? 2 over 1. So for horizontal, it's more complicated. You do reciprocal. I don't want to stand up here because I know I will just end up writing and you'll just end up copying. So I'm going to sit down. Not because I want you to keep asking questions. I just don't want to be doing the work all of class and not give you a chance to try it. So you guys are working. Ask me as many questions.